Let's pivot a little bit to fillings, to mercury fillings. I'm very happy to say that I don't have those, but certainly I know that there are people who are listening that do. I think it was standard practice for a long time to have some type of mercury like some mercury amalgam something. If someone is listening who either has mercury or someone in their family has mercury fillings, what are some of the concerns that we need to be aware of with mercury, and why are mercury fillings something to be concerned about?
So mercury fillings, first of all, are the black silver looking fillings. They were actually heavily marketed as silver fillings and are called amalgam fillings. So yes, they do contain 50% mercury. And mercury is the most toxic non-radioactive element known to man. Let that sink in. It's the most toxic non-radioactive element known to man, and we put it into a body. When we drill it out as a dentist, we have to remove it as highly toxic waste. When we put a dead body with amalgam fillings and crematize them, like burn them, it's a lot of toxic vapor. That's why in Europe, for the 1st of January of 2025, finally, we have a environmental mercury ban. That means further down the line, we're not
Oh, that's
allowed to use
fantastic.
mercury fillings anymore in Europe. Not existing yet in America, or I think in Canada also not, but it is existing the same thing in Scandinavia for almost 20 years, in Russia for 40 years. So they just realized it a little bit sooner that mercury is just unhealthy for the body. And therefore, if we take out amalgam fillings for your family or your friends or everyone's listening, don't freak out if you have a black filling in your mouth. First, we need to find the right dentist, real biodentist or biodentist that is trained on how to remove mercury fillings safely. There's luckily also another body in America that trains dentists to, or certifies dentists to remove mercury safely. Besides the one I'm training, that's called the SMART protocol, SMART, Safe Mercury Amalgam Removal Technique. It's trained by I think it's the IAOMT. And all the biodentists I'm training obviously know that too. So that's basics for us, but a conventional dentist doesn't necessarily do it. So taking out amalgam fillings without proper safety measurements could be detrimental to your health because you're getting more of that mercury vapor released when drilling them out regularly. So you have that filling for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and it's chronically intoxicating you on a very minimal low dose level, like 2 to 3 micron per day, millions of a gram per day. It's vapor, so you don't see it. It's see-through. You don't smell it. But mercury vapor, Hg0, directly goes into all the cells without protection, into the cell, into the nucleus, and there are certain catalases, enzymes in your body that oxidate this mercury and then bind it tightly. So the half-life of mercury that you already had in your system, that you inhaled through your fillings, is about 16 to 32 years, depending on your specific detoxification enzymes. So first of all, find a dentist who knows how to remove that safely. So work on an overarching strategy. It's nothing to do straight away. It's nothing acute, but it could be a big trigger for your overall health improvements. Could be. It's mercury. So first, someone that knows how to remove them safely. Then do this. And after what we do after the whole health optimization week is that we, like after 4 months, will also test then if like the root canals are gone, the cavitations are gone, everything is now healed, and we are ready to set the teeth, the aesthetics, the prosthetic. Then we would probably start on looking for mercury and heavy metals in the cell through chelation and sort of protocols, but not before. First rule is always you want to remove the source first. And the source for mercury toxicity is not the fish you're eating, it's still the mercury amalgam filling in your mouth. So that needs to be gone before you advance into any detoxification protocols. Because otherwise it's like you're showering and you're trying to rub yourself at the same time, but in a negative way, because it can create lots of health issues. If you start detoxing and chelating and stuff, but the source is still in your mouth, you're only redistributing. So that's critical. Critical information here, because otherwise it's causing havoc.
Well, I
So
never understood how it was okay. And you can certainly explain it to me and to our audience why we were putting in something that off gases even at the small amounts that you just stated, right beside the brain. Like your teeth, if you just think of the anatomy, pull back the skin, and if you just like you're off gassing, if you have, any type of filling in the back, like your brain is like right there. So how, and you said that there doesn't need to be a transporter. It has direct access to the nuclei, to the nuclei of all the cells. That's crazy. That's wild to me. It's crazy that that would ever be allowed. I don't know if it's because it's a cheap material, if it's widely available. I'm not sure what the justification is for using mercury.
The justification has been that it is a super good working material. It's cheap. It's subsidized by all the insurances. It lasts forever basically because it kills all the bacteria underneath anyway, so no more cavities. And it was the only material 200 or 150 years ago besides gold. And it was so much cheaper that the dentists that did mercury fillings in the beginning, instead of the gold fillings, they were just faster. They could just do 20 a day instead of one and just made more money. And then obviously this group formed into the American Dental Association. So it's just industry, old school material and subsidization. And yeah, no one thought about it more. And also a filling in the mouth or any sort of dental repair, let's say crowns or fillings, they're not classified as something in the body. They're classified as a device, such as like an iPhone or
A
a
cane or
device, or like
something. Yeah.
your glasses. It's outside
Yeah.
body, and they don't need a toxicological report. So I think that's how they navigated it. I think everyone knows, and also obviously probably politicians and everyone knows it too, but I understand that you cannot roll out on a big scale and tell everyone for 200 years we basically made you sick, because that would end up in ongoing
Well, you'd
costs,
have public revolts everywhere.
public
Yeah.
revolts, and the
Yeah.
costs would probably ruin every state. So what they do
Yeah.
in Germany now is, how they report about is like from January 21st, there's no more mercury fillings, no more Belgium. And they don't say this is because of health reasons. They say it's for the environment. And on top of that, it's going to be more expensive at the dentist for you guys out there. So that's how they navigate. So they will never say, can say that they did something wrong there because of,
Right.
like I just said, it would be too expensive.
And
But
so would be a better alternative be gold or
no,
nickel, or these are metals as well, no? Or
I mean,
what would
200
yeah.
years ago, there was only gold. And gold was okay-ish because it's more like a precious metal. But these days, so metals in itself have a couple of challenges. Number one, could be very toxic, that mercury filling. But a gold is not that toxic. But every single metal has no function in the body, meaning it is a trigger. And it can always be a antigen, meaning it really makes your body allergic. And you can test that with LTT, lymphocyte transformation, and see if there's an ongoing, not an acute, but a chronic, immune trigger. And number three, if you're not even reacting to any metal ion from an immune point of view, is always any single metal in this world can become an antenna, because we're living in 3G, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi everywhere, radar everywhere. So every single metal, and that's basic physics, is an antenna. So you're having micro antenna in your whole body and making yourself electro hypersensitive. And also if you have different metals in your mouth, such as a gold filling on top of a titanium implant or right next to an amalgam, you have something called a current. Ions go in solution in your saliva, which is an electrolyte. You're basically forming a battery there. So there's lots of
Wow.
implications why you don't want to have a metal in your mouth, because that stuff rusts. Imagine a propeller of a boat underneath the sea. How it looks after 10 days in the water. It's rusty. Imagine putting metal in your mouth. How does it look after a few days? It's going to rust. So no metal. We don't do any metal, not even an implant. Like I said before, we do ceramic implants, which is
So if you're someone who does have a mercury filling of some sort, or what would be the idea here is maybe looking to getting it removed and replaced with something else, like
yes,
some type of inert substance.
exactly. You want to get it removed safely. So find that safe removal dentist first, and then replace it. And this is replace it, let's say, step one, with a biomaterial. This is something that is neutral to the body. So this is now depending on the size of the hole in your tooth, the size of the cavity, is something that a regular dentist, that a good skilled dentist knows. So if it's tinier, we will just go with a composite, which is basically a tooth-looking filling material. It's basically 50% plastics and 50% ceramics. That's not correct, but you know what I mean, like in essence.
Yeah.
And then if it's bigger, you can go with a ceramic implant. If it's even bigger, you use maybe a partial crown made out of ceramic. And then if it's completely destroyed enamel, you need a crown. But this is technicalities that every single dentist knows, that you don't need a biological dentist for that. You never want to go to any dentist that tells you, because for 30 years, I'm only doing metal fused ceramic crowns, meaning there's metal underneath the ceramic. Looks like ceramic, but there's metal underneath. I'm not doing the full zirconia one. Then you run. You definitely need someone who knows how to work with full ceramics and ceramic.
I think I have ceramic, but just in our leading up to our conversation, I'm like, I'm going to go to the biological dentist that he referred me to. So I'm going to go and see, and I can report back to you.